What's up, everybody? This is Whisky 6. I'm Rob, doing a Glenallachie 15 versus Glendronach 15 review. Both of these are 2019. Gonna wait a couple of seconds for people to jump into the chat, but I'm gonna nose them, taste them, and give them a mark. On my left over here, which I will place in front of the Glenallachie, is the Glenallachie pour, and then this one here is the Glendronach pour. What's going on, gentlemen who have just joined the chat? Brad Murphy, what's going on? Claire the Third, how are you? All right, so Glenallachie versus Glendronach. I think this is a pretty good comparison considering these are both 2019s. I'll keep them like that. Catherine, how are you? So I'm going to nose both of these, give them a mark tonight. Going to do a bit of a head-to-head. I wanted to do that earlier. I've reviewed the old version of the Glendronach Revival. This is the new version. It's a 2019. It's both PX and Oloroso. All right. This here is the Billy Walker Glenallachie 15-year-old. Both of these have PX and Oloroso in them. Obviously, as you can tell, the Glenallachie is a little darker. Looks a lot darker in the video, but it's actually just a little darker than the Glendronach. Maybe you can tell a little bit better with the glasses here. Again, maybe it's on the left side is less light, but that's what we're doing tonight, guys. What do you guys have poured for yourselves? Jay Callie, what's going on? Whiskey Dong, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing well. Amidst the Corona craziness, hopefully you guys are safe and healthy. I'm gonna move these back. I think that might work better if I do that. Yeah, there we go. That's better. All right. What are you guys drinking tonight? Whiskey Straight says, got some Edward Dower 12 Caledonian in the glass. Very nice. Ja Weeks, what's going on, buddy? Whiskey Dong is saying, I'm pouring a Glenallachie 15 2004 Oloroso single cask. Interesting. That's probably really good. Jay Callie saying, doing well, Corona free. I'm driving home from work, but we'll be drinking Glendronach 18. Very nice. All right, so I'm going to start with the Glenallachie 15. Actually, I'm just going to go back and forth a few times. Catherine has the Ardbeg Ugadal. And Jingaro7 is drinking well stocked up Johnny Walker Ghost and Rare Brora. Nice. That's a good one. Brad Murphy saying mid-morning here on the Gold Coast, currently hosting Tom Hanks. Yeah. Hopefully he's doing okay. Joe Mez is in the house. He's sipping on some Deanston 15-year-old Sauternes. That is probably amazing. Go Habs is saying no Maple Leaf lost tonight. Yeah, no Maple Leaf anything for a while. No hockey, no basketball, no soccer. I think YouTube's going to do okay in the next little while, to be honest with you. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so Glenallachie here on my left, Glendronach 15 here on my right. Greg saying, quick hello, too tired, late to stay also because work tomorrow. Will replay with pleasure. Yeah, I feel the same way with you as you about the other stuff there, Greg. I think we all do, buddy. Okay, so both of these have had quite a bit of time to open up. They've been open for quite some time. When I did my Glenallachie rundown, it was almost like a neck pour of the 15-year-old. So it wasn't quite a fair assessment, but I think I gave it a pretty decent mark at the time. The Glendronach Revival in my Glendronach rundown was the old one, the Oloroso only, probably older. This one here is the new one, the 2015 Rachel Barrie Oloroso and PX. So these are actually pretty fair comparisons because they're both unchill filtered. They're both 46%, no added color, and both Oloroso and PX casks. I just want to confirm that on the Glenallachie 15, but I'm almost certain. Doesn't say on the box, or I'm just skimming too quickly. But I'm almost certain. So we'll just go with that. Jinguro saying, thanks for the tip on Glendronach 18 was able to track down 3 bottles in Los Angeles. Nice. Good stuff. Catherine saying, I'm working from home for at least 2 weeks. Yeah, I think that makes, well, many of us in Ontario will be working at home or from home for the next little while. We'll get into some of that after. I want to get to the review. I want to give you guys something, give you some positive stuff here before we get into the negative chat and banter a little bit later. So on the nose, the Glenallachie. You can definitely tell that there's quite a bit of sherry influence here. Couple of late notifications. Peter White saying his was late. Greg saying, Rob, have you tried the old 1990s Glendronach 15? Was a bit earthy, smoky. If it's the older white label bottle, I never actually had a chance to try that, no. One Last Cause is saying, I'm on Glendronach 18 right now. Very nice. Yeah, so Glenallachie 15 in my left hand here definitely has that distillery characteristic of like just like rocks and minerals and that kind of note, something charred in the background. Definitely get a lot of sherry notes here. And like I said, I'm almost certain that it's PX and Oloroso. It doesn't smell like it's just Oloroso for sure. Joseph's in the house. What's going on, buddy? Malt Muser, Eric, how are you, my friend? Yeah, so dark fruits, possibly some coffee in there as well. Not very sweet on the nose. Get some like almost like a sour dates kind of nose. Like if you ever opened up a date bag, like just a whole bunch of, or prunes actually. Prunes is what I'm thinking, not dates. Prunes. A bag of prunes. You ever open up a bag of prunes, you get that like sour, sweet smell. That's kind of what I'm getting here. Jason Fisk in the house. What's going on, buddy? Okay, cool. Moving on to the Glendronach on the nose. This is definitely a lot sweeter. P-Boss, what's up, brother? A lot sweeter on the nose. A lot less sherry influence, though, for sure. Or at least a different kind of sherry influence. Probably more refill casks used for the Glendronach 15-year-old revival. More first fill on the Glenallachie. I think you can almost tell by the color that there's more first fill here. Like I said, it looks darker. If we switch these around, maybe it won't look as dark. That's still pretty dark. Yeah, the Glenallachie is definitely darker. Okay. Glendronach has some of those vineyard type notes that I was describing when I reviewed the most recent Glendronach 18. So she's back. Definitely a sweeter nose. Less dark fruits for sure. Zan is saying, good evening. I'm sipping on Glendronach 15 Towny Port. I'll take it over the Revival any day, or all day anyway. Sheng Yang is saying, Revival, one of my favorites. Impossible to find the old version, though. Yeah, the old version is going to be tough to find these days. All right, I think despite the more first fill influence on the Glenallachie, the Glendronach nose is probably a little more to my liking as far as nose goes. But I can see why a lot of people would like the Glenallachie 15 nose. Definitely a little stronger. Okay, on the palate. So it's a touch hot, but not overly. A little bit more than you would expect for 46% though. A lot going on. There's some dark fruits in there. On the back end, you get a nice chocolate note, maybe a little bit of coffee. This is definitely leaning towards a sherry bomb. Maybe not quite a sherry bomb, but very, very close. I think a lot of people are going to like this. It's good. A lot of dark fruits. So the Glendronach is a little bit more approachable, sweeter on the palate, less heat maybe. Really nice, actually. That's really nicely balanced. Sheng Yang giving the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate it. Number one fan, it says. Thanks a lot, buddy. Really appreciate that. Thank you. One more sip on the Glendronach. Yeah, definitely more fruit, more sweetness. That's really nice. Once this becomes readily available and people get over the craze of what the Glendronach 15 used to be, this is going to be one of those whiskeys that everybody's going to want in their bar because it's got so much going on and it's a very reasonable price of about $90 to $95 Canadian in out west. You're going to pay maybe 60, 70 American for this one. I wonder what this is going for in the States. The Glenallachie is about 100 Canadian, so a little bit more expensive, but also a good deal. And I think a lot of people are going to like this one as well. I'm going to sip them both one more time each, and then I'm going to give them a mark, but I'm going to give a quick break and look at the chat. Again, thank you to Sheng for that super chat. Greg saying, quick hi to everyone as well. Not staying long, but enjoying the company. Malt Muser saying they ship and are cheap. Peter White saying finally poured a gifted sample of the Glenbergie 1995. Gordon McPhail. Good God, I need more of this. Wow. So that Glenbergie, I remember, sat on shelves for probably ever. And none of us were brave enough to pull the trigger on it. And I regret it because I could have got that for a really, really good deal if it's the one I'm thinking of. Jason Fisk is asking Peter for the ABV, which I'm assuming, yeah, it's 51.5 on that Glenbergie. Brad Murphy saying, Rob, is the Glendronach more spicy? I would say actually that the Glenallachie is more spicy. Going to go back to it in just a sec, but yeah, great question. I think the Glenallachie is a little more spicy. Malt Muser saying Glendronach 15 is a cool 100 in the States. So that's a bit more than the average, I think. Revival is 90 American. Okay, so I was wrong about that. It seems that Alberta has the same pricing on the Glendronach as the US. But then again, this bottle here is gifted to me by my buddy Paulo, Silent Bob, as you guys would know him. And I'm thinking he paid probably about that, maybe 90 American. Now that I remember, he bought it when he was in Florida last summer. I bought this from Alberta for, like I said, about $100. I can't remember exactly how much it was. But I think the Glendronach 15, I bought a bottle of it. I have it upstairs. And it was going for roughly $180 to $100 Canadian, but Alberta pricing plus I get a little bit of preferential treatment when I was able to buy in Alberta. Now those days are over, but that's another story altogether. P-Boss is there, and he said that he paid 95 US in Florida. Okay, so there you go. All right. Jingaro is dropping a $15 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. He's saying happy St. Patrick's Day. Thanks, Rob, for all the whiskey reviews. Really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much. My St. Patrick's Day review is going to be a 16-year-old Teeling. I think I've shown it to you guys before. I have, actually. Really good stuff. I'm really excited to see how it's opened up since I poured it last. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that review. I will be doing the Valfather review this Monday. I'm going to try to make all my lives where you guys get to vote. So a bunch of you guys saw that I posted earlier on today, what should I review tonight? And this was what was voted. I think it was, if it hasn't changed since I last checked, it was around 30% or just over that. 30% of the people picked this. And then the closest thing to these was about 19%, if I'm not mistaken. So this review was actually voted tonight. But again, thank you, Jingaro. I really appreciate it, buddy. Richard, what's going on, brother? Richard just jumped into the chat. I'm not sure if he caught the shout out at the end of my Glendronach 18 review, but that review was thanks to Richard. He provided that bottle, so really appreciate that, buddy. You're awesome. Appreciate the support. Jonathan T is saying it was $108 in Quebec. So many things come to Quebec and go like within that night. Like literally at 12 o'clock at night, they'll release it. It goes online very quickly. I know Glendronach 18 got there and went. Same with the 15. But it's nice that at least the SAQ gets these things for their people. So Greg is taking off. He says, good night, everyone. Hope to have you live someday talking about our favorite distilleries, Rob. Yeah, I would like to do that, actually. Let's set that up. Looks like I'm going to have some free time in the next 3 weeks, Greg, so we'll chat soon. Whiskey Dong says, Rob, have you tried the Compass Box, Tobias and the Angel? And if so, would you say it's worth $500 American? $500 American or $500 Canadian? I actually did try the Tobias and the Angel. Jasper brought it over one night. We tried it on the live, but I thought in the moment, I think I really enjoyed it. And thinking about that moment, I remember liking it a lot, but we had a lot of expensive whiskey that night, and we also had a lot of cask strength whiskey that night. So I would not trust my opinion on the Tobias and the Angel, but from what I remember, it was excellent. So I don't know what you should do with that information, to be honest with you. Malt Muser is saying, have you seen the Glenmorangie 15 Cabal Estate yet in your area? I don't think it's going to come up this way for a while. We usually get things pretty late, but that does look pretty cool. I want to try that. Yeah, 500 American, that's a lot of money. I would say it's a try before you buy when you're spending that kind of money, unless like you really trust the source that's reviewing it. That's kind of my method when I go north of $350, $400. But yeah, I remember really enjoying it. But again, we had a lot of whiskey that night, so I don't want to make any promises. I'm going to go back to these and then I'm going to give them a mark. So Glenallachie 15 one more time. Again, nose has some like interesting spices to it. Like there's a bit of that like cumin kind of like savory note that you get from some sherry bombs, but not in an off-putting way at all. And then there is some sweetness now that it's opened up a little bit of dark chocolate, some coffee in there as well, and some dark fruits, maybe somewhere in there. Yeah, lots of viscosity here. Like I said, it's a bit spicy, bit hot, but not in a way that's gonna bother you at all. And if it does, you add a couple drops of water and you're gonna be fine here. Really nice. Man, this is a tough one because although they're made kind of the same way and they both have Oloroso and PX in them, they are very different whiskeys. And I think the first fill really shines through in this one, whereas this one is just a more balanced whiskey, if you know what I mean. Let me taste the Glendronach one more time and go back to it. Yeah, that's just really well-rounded in my opinion. I don't think anyone's going to dislike this Glendronach 15, to be honest with you. It's the 2019. Bottling date is February 5th, for anybody that follows that sort of thing. Really good. Really well-balanced. Yeah, I'm going to give this one an 89. The Glendronach Revival. I would even go as high as a 90. So maybe that's a 90 actually. $89, $90. Probably when you first start the bottle, you're looking at around an 88, 89. As it opens up and gets to the midpoint, which is where it is now, I would go as high as a 90. For the Billy Walker 15-year-old Glenallachie, this one's an 87, 88. And the reason why it's an 87, 88 for me is because I like a more balanced whiskey, but I can see this one going as high as a 90 for some people. Just because it's probably a sherry bomb and it's the type of whiskey that a lot of people would be looking for. I'm going to give it one more sip and then I'll decide. Yeah. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either of these. These are definite buys in my opinion. For that reason, this one's an 88. I think once you get to the 88, like 88 is that like magical number for me where would I buy it again? Yeah, I would definitely buy it again. It's good whiskey. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this whiskey. That's an 88. This one's a 90. Always was a bit of a Glendronach fanboy. That fell off in the last couple of years, but it picked back up this year. I really like the 18. I really like the 15. I think Rachel Barrie did a great job. That not that she had much of a choice. I think there was already casks allotted for the 18, but with the 15, she really did a great job at balancing it out and making it almost as good quality as those old ones, despite those old ones being so much older. I hope, and I think they will, keep the Glendronach 18, the current one, as Oloroso only, and I think it'll end up being the only one in the range that's Oloroso only. Actually, some of them brought up a good point in the chat or in the comments of the video. They said that the 18-year-old from 2019, some of the bottles have a tin with Billy Walker signature on it, and some of the bottles have a tin with Rachel Barrie's signature on it. And they thought it was by date, but the date they gave me was different than the dates I had on the two bottles. So Richard had bought me a bottle. That one has a Billy Walker signature on it. Then I went out and grabbed another one. And that one is from 2019 as well. It's from, I believe, June. And it has a Rachel Barrie signature on it. So what I think happened there is just the tins. They didn't want to waste money and buy new tins. So they used all the Billy Walker ones that they had. And then they decided to replace the tin and go with the Rachel Barrie tin. Thank you very much, Eric. Really appreciate it. This is Malt Muser, guys. Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. He just reviewed today, I think it was, the Ardbeg Black Committee release, which is the Pinot Noir cask. Really great review. I'm going to buy it when I get a chance, and that's thanks to Eric's review. So check him out if you haven't already. And he drops a super chat saying, "Great stream tonight, brother. Always appreciate your whiskey reviews." Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, so 88 and 90, both great. I really enjoy these guys. I think some people might lean towards the Glenallachie, some people might lean towards the Glendronach. I think if you buy both, you're going to enjoy both, to be honest with you. If you're a sherry fan, you're going to like both of these. All right. Did I miss anything here? All right. I think Greg took off. Richard says they should have made it Dronach 16 or something else and not suffer the ID crisis from the first version. I don't disagree with that. That's actually a great idea. I wonder if Richard works in PR, because that's actually a fantastic idea. They should have done that. They have a 16 Platinum that a lot of people rave about. I haven't tried it myself, but that's a great idea, Richard. Go Habs is saying, does the 15 Revival contain any older juice? As far as I know, there would be no reason for them to put anything older than 15 years old in this bottle. It would just cost them more money, in my opinion, and probably wouldn't make sense with what they project to do moving forward. So like I would assume that's 15 years old, like other distilleries. Now they finally moved into the zone for this one anyway, that they're able to bottle at 15 years old. I think the 18 years old as of 2020 is now going to be just 18 years old. So I don't know, but I can't be certain. You would have to ask Rachel Barrie herself. Derek is saying, sipping on some Glenfiddich 18 right now. It's tasty, not blowing my socks off though. Yeah. I remember going through a bottle of Glenfiddich 18 probably about 2 years before I started the channel. And I liked it, but I was definitely disappointed. I remember liking the Glenlivet 18 better at the time. But then again, like I went back to that probably about a year ago and was pretty disappointed as well. So we evolve. Glenfiddich 18 is good, but there's better for the price for sure. Whiskey Dong says, anyone try the Daft Mill releases? Just bought 2 bottles of their recent release, but had to have it delivered to my parents in a different state, so I won't get it for a while. I've never tried the Daft Mill. I know that Jeremy was thinking about buying one, or if he ended up buying one, I'm not sure. But I definitely didn't try it myself, so he would be better. I mean, he might jump in tonight at some point. But he would be definitely better to run it by. Brian Page is saying, what's up, Rob? Did you get any of the Old Forester 1920? I saw they shipped some to the stores earlier in the week, exactly when Peter White said they would. Peter White knows his stuff, man. I did. I grabbed a couple bottles of the 1920. I really like it. I think it's actually one of the better bourbons I've tried this year. One Last Cause is saying 2018, 12, 18, Glendronach 18 bottle, Rachel Barrie on the tube. There you go. So that one's a 2018, and it says Rachel Barrie on the tube. So there you go. I think my theory is correct in that they made new tins and they have some old tins. So they just decided to like mix them all in, and whatever people got, they got. And the Billy Walker tins will be done in a little while, definitely by next year, or definitely by this bottling year anyway. Derek is saying, I haven't seen the black in my area yet, been watching for it. So Claire got one today, and he said that his state that he lives in only got 3 bottles total. So he was lucky enough to get one, but most people obviously are not going to get it because there's only 3 bottles. Brad Murphy saying, Slanchma, I'll catch you next week. Cheers, buddy. Take care, man. Malt Muser is saying, hope you get a bottle, Derek. It's a winner. I can't, honestly, I want to try it. I really want to try it. I actually, a lot of people didn't like the drum. I really like the drum. I like the drum, the regular drum and the committee release drum. So I don't know. A lot of people didn't like it though. Aladdin saying this was really thorough and I really appreciate your insights. Thanks, man. My pleasure. And these are good whiskeys, so I hope you guys can find them because they're definitely worth the money. Peter White saying, I was driving the truck. He was driving the Old Forester truck. He decided that the LCBO took way too long to get Old Forester, so he had to go down there and get it himself. Yeah, I really like this Glenallachie. I really like most Glenalachie's, as you guys have come to realize. But they're not for everybody, and not everybody loves them. I have my neighbor actually gave me his bottle, or at least let me review his bottle of the 10-year-old cask strength Glenallachie. So that'll be coming up soon. He didn't love it, so we'll see how I feel about it in a little while. Jason Fisk saying, our guy on the inside. Malt Muser birthday is coming up soon. Gotta drop some hints to the wife. Derek, what would you like me to suggest for her to get you? Chat's going a little quicker than I thought it would today. We got about 47 in. So Canadian Whiskey blog on Reddit, according to Peter White, has lots of insiders. Chong Wang is saying Daft Mills are fantastic whiskey. Make sure you try them. So there you go. Joseph is asking, Rob, have you tried the Rare Perfection 14 and or Rare Perfection 15? Just got the 15 and curious about the 14. I haven't tried either of those. Is Rare Perfection an independent bottler or is that an actual distillery? Because I haven't even heard of it, to be honest with you. DH Sales is saying the Glendronach 15 is so good. Yeah, honestly, I really like it. I think it's actually a great. So you'll have to wait and see, but Jeremy has a video coming up that's pretty cool, and this was one of the bottles he picked. So a little spoiler alert there, but it's excellent stuff. A lot of personal chats going on in the chat room today. Okay, so not sure if any of you guys are from Ontario. I know a couple of you are, a handful of you, but as some of you may know, in Ontario, we go on March break as of this week. So this week coming anyway. Tomorrow would be my last day, and then there's March break for a week. The government has implemented a 2-week, basically not quarantine, but school shutdown for the coronavirus, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, I did not think we were going to get to this level ever, to be honest with you, but it's happening, man. So we're shut down for 3 weeks essentially in Ontario. Go have St. Poor Rob. We'll see. I don't know how that's going to affect me, to be honest with you. We'll see what ends up happening. I heard the government might try to do some sort, like, we were left with kind of a cliffhanger by the government saying learning will continue. So I don't know if that means the teachers will be going into work and streaming lessons from their classroom. I don't know if that means we'll be doing some e-learning. I don't know. I don't know what any of it means yet. We'll have to find out. Peter saying the Rare Perfection 15-year Canadian is a bucket lister for me. Interesting. I don't even think I've ever heard of it. Joseph saying Rare Perfection is Canadian whiskey being bottled by Preservation Distillery. Super good stuff. I would like to try that. That sounds awesome. I don't even know where I could find something like that. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about Canadian whiskey these days. Kind of fallen off the map for me. Mainly because there's not enough being bottled to my liking, I guess you can say. Nick saying, shout out from Hamilton, whiskey in the 905. Very nice. What's going on, Nick? Anonymous, heard your PM is under quarantine with his wife. Yeah. So we're not sure if Justin Trudeau has the virus, but we do. I think we know now that his wife does. From what we know about the virus, so here's something I heard today that kind of scared me a little bit. When the Spanish flu first came out, or when it first started affecting people, I guess you should say, because it didn't come out. It's not a new toy or a new sneaker. When it first started affecting people, it was relatively mild. It wasn't until the following fall that it had mutated and turned into something that was very deadly and unfortunately killing a lot of people. That's not to say that that's what's going to happen with Corona, and I really hope that that's not what's going to happen with Corona. But I do think that we're in a state of technology and healthcare that like a pandemic of that level, of that magnitude, can be avoided, I hope. But it was pretty freaky to hear that on the news. I had no idea that that's what happened with the Spanish flu. Unfortunately, these things have cycles, so fall and spring are usually the breeding grounds for a lot of these viruses. Joey saying school's out, so my kids are ecstatic. That's funny. Musers is saying it's crazy. They just canceled the NCAA tournament and the rest of the NBA season here in the States. They canceled the NHL season. I heard that the Euro Cup of soccer is going to be played next summer. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. There's some crazy stuff happening right now. DH Sills is saying schools are closed, basketball is canceled. My reports at work are working at home. Somehow I'm still going to the office. Oh well. Don't go to the office, man. You don't have to. Avoid it. Derek is saying they are getting ready to shut down the schools in my area. Also have some cases in the area. Yeah, it's everywhere now. DJ Wanwan is saying no work and no whiskey. Ouch. I got plenty of whiskey. That's definitely not my concern. Go Habs is saying school is still open in Quebec for now. Actually, I feel like Quebec is one of the places where there's not a ton of cases. Knock on wood. I hope you guys don't get any, but as far as I remember hearing, I don't remember hearing too much from Quebec. Shaw Weeks is saying I had given up on Canadian whiskey too. Then I tried the Wisest 23 cask strength and really enjoyed that. Honestly, I 100% agree with that statement. And from what Don Livermore says, it's 100% 23-year-old whiskey, that being majority corn and then some rye, which is very rare as well. So a lot of people don't realize that there's only 3,600 bottles Weiser's 23. So that's like the quality mixed with the rarity, mixed with the fact that it's like following regular rules and according to Don Livermore, 100% 23-year-old whiskey. That one might explode in the next little while. So keep your eyes out for that, guys. Peter White said 150 million dead. That's old school pandemic. What are you talking about? Yeah, 150 million dead would be definitely a lot scarier than what we've experienced so far. And old school pandemic is, I guess, what he's talking about for maybe like bubonic plague or Spanish flu. Those were like heavy death tolls. So I think that's what he's talking about, because 150 million dead. We're not even like, I think we're in the low thousands still, if I'm not mistaken. And that's worldwide. Jason Fish says Spanish flu was killing young soldiers, super deadly. Yeah, exactly. Whereas this seems to be killing, well, was it killing young soldiers when it first started becoming a problem, or did that start later on? Like, did it mutate into something that was killing young soldiers? That's my question with that. It's kind of a morbid conversation, but I guess that's what happens when borders are being shut down and schools are being closed, sporting events are being closed. Derek is saying, unfortunately, it's still early with Corona. A lot of different things could happen. Let's hope nothing too serious. But Derek is correct. Lot of Love says, I hope they won't cancel UFC fights too. I think that's a good probability, in my opinion. I'm not 100% sure, but Catherine Bono is saying there will likely be a vaccine for the next cycle, but I'm not sure if coronavirus mutates as fast as flu. Yeah, that's an issue. That's the issue, right? The vaccine will help, and even if it mutates, it'll probably lessen symptoms. I think what's going to end up happening, you know what, I'm not going to tell you what I think because I am not a professional, so my opinion is irrelevant. Multi-lot of love saying, disappointed Adesanya and Romero fight last week. Yeah, it wasn't that great. I bought the pay-per-view and I wasn't too happy with it, to be honest with you. One Last Cause is saying, it's not very flavorful. What are we talking about? Glenn Farkless, 25-year-old. Anonymous says, what about the Glenn Farkless 25-year-old? Is it a buy or pass? Found it for 130 US. It's the most basic 25-year-old you're gonna find, but definitely for 130 bucks, I mean, it's worth a gamble because it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. It's like not overly flavorful, like One Lost Cause said. Michael is saying Disney World just announced a 2-week closure. That's big. One Last Cause is saying no, not Walt Disney World. I know it's sad. More than anything, I'm sad for like young kids that don't quite understand why you can't go to like these fun activities on March break and do all these fun things that they're anticipating and hoping to do. But whatever, it's better than getting sick, I guess. Not I guess, it's better than getting sick. Chad Adams in the house. What's going on, buddy? DH Sales is saying Corona mutes much slower than the flu. Oh, okay. So mutates much slower than the flu, but it is unlikely to go away with the weather like flu. But of course, all could change as this is a new thing. Yeah. I don't know, man. Malt Music is saying it does not mutate like the flu. From what they are saying, most likely scenario is that 12 to 18 months for vaccine that health folks will get along with periodic boosters. Interesting. I don't know, man. There's a lot of speculation. A lot of people. I didn't think it would come to this. I thought the death rates were way too low for it to come to this. But I guess when you're talking like 1 in 100 people, you're talking something pretty serious, right? So it's not totally unprecedented that they decided to do what they did, which is unprecedented. My wife's calling in the background over here. I should probably answer this. One sec, guys. Hello. Hey, just live. What's up? Yeah, I got that. Okay. Okay, bye. Sorry, guys. Everyone's in the house. What's going on, buddy? Did anybody move on to their second dram? Michael is saying, Rob, do you recall the Glendronach 2015 Glendronach to be better than the 2019? Honestly, I really like this 2019, and I think the Glendronach 2015 was, if I'm not mistaken, 20 years old or 21 years old. 20 years old. It was 20 years old. And if this is 5 years younger, then it doesn't taste or smell like that. But then again, like, man, that's such a hard thing to decide. 5 years. I'll give the edge to the old one for the nostalgia, but this is really good stuff. This is really, really good stuff. DHLs are saying the issue is how fast people get sick. The fear is we have more sick people than our hospitals can support. That's the issue, more so than the deaths. If this were to spread slowly, yeah, I think that's what it is. Even in Italy, they were having a problem with like putting everybody everywhere, finding enough supplies for everybody, and I guess it came down to like deciding who they could save, which is really unfortunate. But who was a priority to save and who wasn't based on their age and their likelihood of survival. It's sad, man. When you're talking people's lives, it doesn't matter how old they are. They're somebody's loved one. And a lot of people are dismissing this because it maybe doesn't affect their age group or it doesn't affect them because they're healthy or whatever. But it's serious. And the fact that it can affect people in your family, people you love, that's a serious issue. And nobody wants anybody to pass away. So why not take the precautions? And I'm glad the government decided to do what they're doing. Jason Fish says, Bidets will be socially accepted in NA. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Steve is saying, even with low death rates, with the infection rate being so high because nobody has developed an immunity yet, it adds up quick. Yeah, exactly. So eventually, if this gets worked into regular daily life and over the next 10 years, it's part of society. It's blended in with the common flu and whatever else. We'll have an immunity to it, especially people that, like, you know, you're gonna, if it exists and they don't come up with some sort of vaccine for it, we'll get it eventually in the next 10 years, and you're gonna develop an immunity to it if you survive it. And there's a 97% chance that you'll survive it, probably higher than 97% chance as we discover that more people actually have this thing than we think. So you're probably looking at around the 99% chance of surviving, depending on health conditions and stuff like that. So, Jason Fisk is saying Corona is Mother Nature's payback for eating anything that moves. That might be true, man. That might be true. Malt Muser agrees, saying exactly. Reviews like 3%, I hear. Yeah. Nick says dram number 2 to Matin 12. Nice. That's a good one. Derek is saying go Habs. It's so people don't have to leave their house for a while, quarantine themselves. Everyone is saying so in America there are 100,000 ICU beds and 60,000 ventilators. Current usage is 60% so now. So if we get a million cases, that is serious. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. That's kind of scary. James Chan is saying, what bottle would you chug down if you knew you only had a few hours to drink it? That's a good question. I have 2 Springbank 21-year-olds from 2019 upstairs, and I have a Highland Park 30. So it would be whatever I can grab first and get started first. Out of those 2, Highland Park 30 or Springbank 21. DH Sales is saying, what's your whiskey of the quarter year so far? Man, I guess it's the Amber rum cask. It's got to be the Amber rum cask. It's a single cask, Amber cask strength. Catherine is saying, I got the H1N1 flu as a healthy 40-year-old, and I got pneumonia afterwards. So you shouldn't assume you're okay if you're healthy. Yeah, exactly. And H1N1, unfortunately, wasn't as serious as Corona is. Which one did I just drink? I think I just finished the Glenallachie. That was really nice to finish. Really nice. Almost like a liqueur flavor on the back end after it's opened up for so long. Everyone's saying, Everwind is saying the fatality rate for 60 and above for common flu is 8%. For COVID is 6%. That is 0.8%. For Corvid, it's 6%. That is a 6-time increase. Yeah, that's a lot. That's scary. We should probably change the subject. This is getting a little morbid. Dustin is saying Dram 2 is Springbank 25 2018 edition. I would like to try the 2018 edition. I had the 2019. Very good stuff. I want to try previous 25-year-olds. I'm wondering what this one's going to be like. Peter White saying, grabbing my Enoch 1975 and bottoms up. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to, if you have only a few hours, Enoch 1975 is a good one to go with. Everyone is saying, so for a more fun, my impression of Glenallachie is that once they get some better casks, the higher ABV of the Glenallachie will surpass the Glendronach, or Glendronach will have to up their game with ABV. Yeah, I think you might be right. Glenallachie is really nice, man. I'm glad we have both of these guys now to go to because they have their similarities, but they are very different as well. So it's definitely worth reaching for 2 different types of whiskey, right? Definitely worth having both in your bar. Peter White saying, taking the Amber rum cask to a tasting on the 28th unless they cancel whiskey tastings. That'll be interesting. I'm assuming they might, but the 28th is long enough away that we'll have much more answers by then, I would think. I mean, we're talking 2 weeks away. We'll see. Anonymous is saying, I can't find the Amber rum cask anywhere. It's at Kensington Wine Market in Alberta. Sipper Social Club is in the house. What's going on, brother? He said, hey, man, sorry I missed everything at work. Nice shirt. No problem, buddy. Jeremy is in the sports world, sports television world. I'm not going to go into detail. He can go into detail as far as what he does, but yeah, it's not looking too sunshine, not too bright in his field at the moment, and I kind of feel for him. So, if you're liking Jeremy's stuff, throw him a bone. Maybe look at some of his merch or some of his Patreon or something like that, because next little while might be a little rough for him in Ontario. Like I said, it's going to be a little gloomy in the sports industry world for a while. I wonder if Claire's going to open up that Ardbeg Black. Said, I missed a few people here. But he's saying the NHL stopped. Does that mean the Caps win the trophy? It goes to last year's champions, I guess, right? Well, that would be St. Louis. That would be St. Louis. So unfortunately, maybe not. DH Sales is saying you gotta say it like a sheep. Black. Yeah. They have a little black sheep on it. It's black because Pinot Noir meaning black. It's a dark wine, dark red wine. Looks blackish. Cool name. I like it. I think I'm gonna like that one. I really, really want to try it. Although Longrow has Pinot Noir casks, and that's part of their red series. So who's right? Clear third saying Caps are in first place. Yeah, that would make them the champions, I guess. I don't know how that would work. I hope they resume the season in 3 weeks, to be honest with you. Go Habs is saying, have the Leafs canceled their Stanley Cup parade? As far as I know, it's still booked for late June, early July, but we'll see. We'll see if we can resume the season so that they can fulfill their destiny. DH Shows is saying, NBA 2K works. All the players play games anyway. Yeah, video games will still work. It's going to be a very interesting 3 weeks because I have 2 young kids, so entertaining them for 3 weeks, not going to any like major gatherings. So like that rules out the movies, that rules out like pretty much everything. I'm not really sure what, like we're going to be renting a lot of movies. It's going to be like the olden days when you went to Blockbuster, rented a video, except now they get to do it from the TV. So this is true quarantine. You can get Amazon to deliver like your toiletries and whatever else you need. You need groceries to deliver your groceries, food. You're actually like, this is a time, like the first time in human existence where you can actually quarantine yourself at home and not have to leave your house. DH Sales is saying esports are going to blow up. Yeah, my guess is video games are going to blow up. Television, Netflix, all those different like streaming networks, internet, like all those services are going to do really well. And YouTube's going to do really well too, because most YouTubers are filming from their home. They don't have to interact with anybody. So there's going to be some things that are going to blow up. Unfortunately, sports are down, and that's a huge one for most people. TSN airs some esports, probably more coming soon. You're going to see a lot of like repeat like games, like championship games or that sort of thing. So we're approaching we just hit the 1 hour mark. We have about 52 in the chat. Hope you guys are all doing well. If you like this video, let me know by giving me that thumbs up. I can go a little bit longer. I believe the Scotch for Dummies will be live in about 15 minutes. So I'll give you guys that 15 minutes. I don't really have much else to do. I got to work tomorrow, but it'll be my last day for 3 weeks, unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances with the coronavirus. All right, so let's talk less about the sad things that are happening in the world right now. Let's talk more about what will be the next whiskey you guys plan to buy. So I'll tell you what mine is right now. It's the Longrow 13, which is a Cabernet Sauvignon cask from Chile. I'm really looking forward to that red. I definitely need it. Peter White saying road trip to Alberta. That's, you know what, that's not a bad idea. Although I do think that Alberta is suffering some things themselves out west, but I don't know. I think the best bet is to just stick it out at home. James Chan with the super chat. Thanks so much, brother. He's saying, here's a start to one of our favorite whiskey tuber to blow. I would love to. That'd be awesome, man. But thank you very much. I really appreciate your support now and all along. You've always been awesome, James. Appreciate it, buddy. Chad Adams is saying Longrow 21. I know where you can get a couple Longrow 21 if you're in Canada. So if you are, send me a message. I'll send you the link. New Longrow Red for Jeremy. Redbreast 27 cask strength. I saw that and I would love to buy that bottle. I just have I have no idea how much that costs. B, I don't think I'm gonna see it. I don't even know where it is. Like I haven't even seen one in the wild yet. Brian Page is saying, I'm curious about the Ardbeg Black, but I don't know if LCBO will get any. Probably not. Don't hold your breath. Go Have is saying, picked up Balvenie 14 peated and Maker's Mark 101 at duty free last week. Let me know how that peated is. I think I'm getting a bottle soon. Keith Daniel is saying, I'm looking at it right now. Glendronach 15 Revival. Yeah, good stuff. Brendan Lee is saying, for me, Springbank 18. Derek is saying, I don't get work off, unfortunately. Flight paramedic. Wow. Yeah. Well, I commend you, Derek, because the job you do and the fact that people, well, in this province anyway, I don't know where you live and work, but the government's always trying to undercut paramedics. They're always trying to undercut nurses and doctors. And for me, that's just ludicrous because you're in that job because you love it, and there's not much else of a reason why you do that job, and most people couldn't, and most people in this time would not want it. So I commend you, man. You're doing good on you for doing what you do. And you guys should get paid more, not less. Bomb Shakan or Bomb Shanken is saying Port Askeg 34. Wow, I didn't even know they had a 34-year-old. That sounds pretty awesome. Richie Z's in the house. What's going on, brother? Peter White saying, yes, too many bottles of scotch gathering dust on the shelves. I agree. We got to go out there, man. Brian Page is saying, I just picked up a Knob Creek single barrel and Maker's Mark 46 recently. I love both those bottles. Yeah. You know what? Those are both pretty good. I actually like the Maker's 46. That was one of the whiskeys I used to frequent before I started the channel, to be honest. Malt Muser is saying, great picks, Brian Page. Derek is saying, for me, either Glendronach 18 or Bunnahabhain 18, if I can find it. Honestly, I love the old Bunnahabhain 18. I think it's one of the most underrated 18-year-olds there is. Really good stuff. Glendronach 18 is always good too, obviously. Neckpour is saying Redbreast 27 is 500 in North California. Neckpour, send me a link to that bottle on at whiskyinthesix@gmail.com. 6 the number, not the word, if you don't mind. Rob Agnes is saying either a Blackguard 6.1 or the Middleton Barrie Crockett. Very interesting. The 6.1 is good. It's not mind-blowing. I don't think you're going to like go crazy for it. I didn't, but that's my opinion. James Chen is saying just picked up some Octomore 10.3 and 10.1. Not sure which one I like more. I think I like the 10. Did I try the 10.1? Maybe I didn't. I don't think I tried the 10.1. I definitely like the 10.3 though. Very good stuff. YouTube is my last resort. Says, what are we talking about? Our favorites. The next bottle we're gonna buy is what we're talking about. So what are you gonna buy next? Jason Fish says the 10.3 is excellent. I agree. Derek says it's not for the pay. That's for damn sure. Yeah. James is saying can't wait to crack it open. Yeah, the 10.3 is good, James. You're gonna like that, man. Brendan Lee is saying Bunnahabhain 18 isn't what it was. The 12 is still amazing as it was. I haven't tried the new Bunnahabhain 18. But I mean, that's not shocking to know that the newer expression isn't as good as the old expression. Bam Shakan is saying, also, hi, Rob. New here, but been watching your reviews for a good while. Really enjoy your perspectives. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Peter is saying, remember, our dollar is down to nothing these days. Stocks are down to nothing. Our dollar is down to nothing. The world is resembling the dystopian science fiction novels that I read so frequently. Did an entire course on dystopian science fiction in university and wrote a dystopian science fiction book myself, but it's a long ways away from being published. I still need to edit that quite a bit. We got about 9 minutes left, guys. Malt Muser is saying my next bottle will be Elijah Craig batch A120. That's the 2020. I have a bottle of Elijah Craig upstairs. I have a bunch of bourbons that I need to review, to be honest with you. Probably about a handful. I might have to do an American Whiskey Month this year. We'll see. I'll do a quick vote, but I think the consensus was a lot of people wanted me to do it. There's a whole bunch of people that follow this channel that don't want me to do it. It's a tough one because I think I'm just going to incorporate them in. I'll just suck it up and incorporate them in instead of doing an entire month because that's a long month. If you don't like bourbon, that's a long month for a follower to be part of a channel and not get to hear about anything that they like. So I'm all about the people. I want you guys all to be happy. So we'll see what happens. Who did I get last? Richie Z saying hi to everybody. That's what happens when you have the wrench. Everybody notices you, Richie. Steven Lazarus is saying, evening, running low on my Dalmore cigar malt, wondering if there are any comparable whiskeys that might be easier on the wallet. Thanks. I would say that this is better than Dalmore cigar malt, probably just as sherried and $100 less. So Glenallachie 15-year-old, man. Both of these are better than the cigar malt in my opinion, but this one is more similar because it's more of a sherry bomb. P-Boss said something earlier. Oh, Bowmore Vittner's 26-year-old. Yeah, Peter knows that we've been talking about that one for some time. Read a Surge review on it today, and I was kind of baffled. Like he gave it a 72. I really don't understand the logic. Like, does he mark according to price? Because he gave Highland Park 10-year-old a 90, and he gave Bowmore 26-year-old French Barrique a 72. And I don't understand how that's possible based on all the reviews I've read of the Bowmore 26. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like it's baffling. I don't get it. I usually like I have mad respect for Serge, and I think he's obviously a legend, but I can't figure out how he did that. I can't figure out why he would do that. Did I miss a few? Bunch of people saying hi to Catherine Bono, saying, "What is a good Irish whiskey for someone who never liked Bushmills and the like? I want to branch out." Try Tyrconnell 16 if you haven't already, Catherine. I swear by that whiskey. I think it's phenomenal. Tyrconnell 16 is still probably my favorite go-to Irish whiskey. The Redbreast 12-year-old cask strength is phenomenal as well, but maybe you don't want that sherry influence. So try the Tyrconnell 16. That's my opinion. Peter White says, US dollar is rocking, so it's Alberta or nothing for me. Yeah. Michael is saying, will the virus impact whiskey prices in the future? If the virus sticks around and mutates and gets worse and does all sorts of things, I don't think we're going to be worrying about whiskey prices in the future. I think people are going to be worried about collecting bullets and guns and all sorts of terrible things. We are a fragile species, and unfortunately, when you turn on the news and you see people raiding stores for toilet paper when they should be getting maybe a little bit of extra food, because you can't eat toilet paper if everything shuts down. I'm not really exactly sure what they're doing, but they're raiding stores for toilet paper. They're taking all the soap off of shelves, not realizing that if we want to keep a sanitary environment in the entire city, province, country, whatever, then everybody needs a little bit of soap to clean their hands, because you spread the germs by not being able to clean your hands. So if you hoard all the soap, you're still going to get sick because the people around you are not going to have anything to wash themselves. So there's that. And then there's a whole bunch of other reasons why we won't have to worry about whiskey prices if the virus gets worse. I don't think. I think that's unfortunately going to be the least of our concerns. Claire the Third saying Dalmore is trash. Let's stick to the whiskey talk, because I'm being a little, I don't know, paranoid, I guess. Peter's saying, especially with the shitty bourbon selection in Ontario. Yeah, our bourbon selection is pretty bad. But I've purchased some decent bourbons in Ontario in the last little while. Not too bad. The 1920s is really good. Yeah, Go Habs is saying he likes bourbon, but choice is extremely limited in Quebec. Catherine is saying, thanks, I'll have to try. I'm not sure what Derek recommended, but I'm sure it's something good because Derek has good taste. Jason Fisk said Redbreast 12. Okay. Derek said Green Spot. So there's lots of good Irish options. The Teeling that I have is one of them. Very good stuff. Peter is saying Tyrconnell 16 bourbon cask is mostly gone. There is Oloroso Moscatel finish now. Is that in Ontario, the Oloroso Moscatel finish? Because I would love to try that one. Jason Coates says, if you have no food, the toilet paper becomes irrelevant. 100%, buddy. That's exactly my thoughts. Richie Z saying, is Serge in Italy? I'd love to have a dram with him one day. I don't think he is. I think he's British, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong about that. Bam Shakan is saying Serge is usually on point and a compass, but once in a while he is quite syncratic. Sorry, maybe he gets a bad bottle. Yeah. So me and Jeremy and I were actually speaking about this earlier. I think what it is there's been many times where I've had a sample of something and it really wasn't that good, and then I try the bottle later. And I'm like, wow, this is like so much better than that sample I had that really discouraged me and made me think that this was not good whiskey. So I think when people are reviewing whiskey based only on a sample, they're not doing it justice to that whiskey. And I think Serge often reviews based only on a sample. That's not a discredit to him. That's just he reviews so much whiskey that he has no like real choice but to do that. Unfortunately, there are going to be the duds where he thinks the Beaumont 26-year-old French Barrique is a 72, and then Ruben from Whiskey Notes gives it a 92. So, like, literally, could they be that far off? Like, they're usually pretty close in marks. So, I don't know. But obviously, preference is a thing, right? So, some people like some things, some people don't. Peter White saying, for one good one, there are 10 shitty overpriced craft crap. Yeah. For one good bourbon, there's 10 shitty ones. Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree. Brian Page is saying, the fact that we just got the 1920 and the JDBP is a great sign of possible things to come. I agree, Brian. That's actually a great point. And the price on both of those seem very reasonable, which is also something to be happy about. Catherine Bono saying, the first time someone brought me an Irish car bomb, I was horrified. I wasted a waste of whiskey and beer. Those are interesting drinks for sure. All right. I think that's it for me. Joe F is saying soap shortage. We will have to wash our hands with whiskey. Yeah, exactly. I have plenty of whiskey and I have some bad whiskey that I can wash my hands with if I have to. Steven is saying typical fear mongering press. If you're not elderly or immune compromised, you'll be fine, more likely than not. Just increase your hand washing, flush your sinuses, and eat healthy. Good point. Travis, what's going on, brother? He says, what's up? I missed your comparison. I wasn't a fan of the Glenallachie 15. It's a mess, in my opinion. I think it gets better when it opens up a bit. I'm a bit of a Glenallachie fanboy, so whenever it has a little bit of that Glenallachie distillery characteristic, I actually enjoy it. But I think it could have been better. I think it was maybe a little bit rushed, maybe a little bit too heavy towards first fill sherry, which is not necessarily Billy Walker's style. Bam Shakana saying Serge is French. Peter White saying, wish I could get that here to JG. Jason Coates says, fancy seeing you here to Richie Z. All right, guys. Gonna take off. Gonna let the Scotch for Dummies take over. You guys can head over there if you want some more YouTube entertainment for the evening. Hope you enjoyed this. Just to recap, if you're just tuning in now, the Glenallachie 15 got an 88 for me, and the Glendronach 15 got a 90. So both very good. Both I would purchase again. I did like the Glendronach 15 a little bit better, to be honest. Guys, really appreciate it. Brendan Lee's just saying, I think Billy Walker has his hands full with Glenallachie. However, he's doing well with it. I agree. I like Glenallachie so far. Guys, really appreciate it. Take it easy. Thumbs up if you like this. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You guys can support this channel on Patreon. And please stay healthy. Cheers.